Hey everybody, this is Tracy here for another edition of A View from Tracy's Point. And guys, I really appreciate if you help me grow my channel by clicking the subscribe button below. I also love it when you comment and subscribe on the videos, so go ahead and help a girl out. So we're here to recap Invite Only Cabo. I don't know why I keep saying Cabo. Invite Only Cabo, Season 1, Episode 3, which was titled Blame It on the Alcohol. So people on social media are more interested in the sexuality of the men on the show than they seem to be in the show itself. And I know in my first video I said that I thought, a certain person was gay. But I kind of left it there. I was speaking more so not on that I thought anybody was gay, but on the fact that it seems that every show that comes out now, there has to be like this one gay person on the show or the show can't come on air. So I was speaking from that perspective. But people in the comments on social media, they just keep going back and forth that the guys on the show are pretending to be straight, and I'm just like, really, is it that serious that they have to pretend to be straight in order to have a show? Because I hear that there is a gay channel now, so if gay people want to have a reality show and they can't get it on mainstream media, then they could just move it over to this, I can't remember, is it Slay? I can't remember the name of the station. But anyway, I thought I would point that out, that it's just really surprising that people are going on and on about that. So on to the show. Larry and Kamani are discussing the blow up with Bianca. And Larry says that he is ready to pull the plug on this vacation because it is not turning out the way that he had planned, and the way that Bianca is acting, is really just draining him of his energy. And so Bianca, swears that Kamani is jealous of her relationship with Larry, and that, she was being very two-faced and shady, and going back and telling Larry, about Frankie touching her on the butt. And then I think she was talking to a goob when she was having this conversation. Or was it Malaku? But anyway, she was talking to one of the guys, and they were basically, saying that Kamani feels like she's closer to Larry, and that's why she went back to Larry. But Bianca ain't hearing nothing. She thinks that Kamani is jealous and being mean-spirited, and she's never, ever, ever, ever going to forgive her for this infraction. So Jermaine says that Larry is not about the drama and Bianca is very dramatic, and he's right about that because Bianca is so uptight over something that she claims never happened. She says that the guy never, touched her butt, and I guess in the sense that he didn't like grab her butt or was like feeling on her butt. No, that did not happen, but he did, in my opinion, have his hand in a space that should be reserved for people that you actually know and have like an intimate relationship with, because I wouldn't want some random man, resting his hand on my hip or the small of my back. But can we please move on from it? And if she's really that upset about it, go to Kamani and explain to Kamani how pissed off you are, and do it in a mature adult way, and hopefully Kamani can receive it, and the two of you can work it out, because you are just dragging down the whole show with this like bitter attitude that you have. And so on the subject of Jermaine, does he have an episode dedicated to him where, he cuts loose and let us get to know him better? Because I love the commentary and the shade that he be throwing, from the confessional, but his character, needs to bring something else to the show, because right now he's kind of looking like, why did I bother coming on this show? Like, why am I on this trip? And it's sort of like he's becoming the Phaedra of the show, because they're saying that the real reason that Phaedra was released from the Real Housewives of Atlanta is because she refused to open up and reveal her personal life on the show, and that's the reason why she won't be coming back next season. So on the way to the pool party, Bianca, Larry, and Emily end up in the SUV together, and it was a little awkward, but let's see if he can crack the code and help her chill out a little bit. So they get to the pool party, and I think Larry ordered a bottle of vodka, a bottle of champagne, and a hookah. And that would definitely lighten the mood if she's willing to partake in it. But Lord Jesus, why did Bianca, like, she is doing way too much. So they're in the pool and she just cannot chill out. She can't get into chill mode to save her life. So you're having this fight with him because he shared with you what Kamani said about the man at the bar. So you've been angry about that ever since. So why would you sit there and ask this man, would he be willing to marry you? And if he saw the relationship ending up in marriage. Like, girl, you are just, I don't know, like, whether you guys are serious or not, you know, talking marriage at this point is placing you on team too much right now, Bianca. And I am really, really trying to like your character on this show, but it is just, it keeps going south. It keeps going south. But I have hope, Bianca, that you're going to turn this around by the end of the season. So I don't know why Larry got out of the pool with Bianca and then went and got Agu of all people to talk this over with. So he pulls Agu off to the side, and I guess he basically thought that he would, you know, we do this with our friends. We have different friends for different reasons, and so you go to whoever it is you want to co-sign whatever you're doing. But he wants Agu to tell him that Bianca, you know, is out of her mind. But then instead, Agu, you know, lets him know, like, what did you expect? You brought her to this tropical island for vacation. You know, you're in this house together and everything. So what else is she supposed to expect if you guys are trying to take your relationship to the next level? And so Larry is still asking Agu, you know, but what happened? But what happened? Referring to him and Emily the night before. But Agu, you know, he still says that he didn't sex Emily and wants to figure things out with Kamani. So Larry tells him to take Kamani away from the house and have an honest, open talk with her, which is the same thing that he needs to do with Bianca. Because now let's think about this. Larry brought 6 of his friends to this house in Cabo, right? But he has a bedroom by himself. He put Bianca in the room with somebody else. So if he was really like feeling Bianca, wouldn't she be in the room with him? Like, even if nothing, because you can sleep in the bed with a man and not have sex. Or maybe he thinks that if he slept in the same bed with Bianca, that she would just like really be over the top. So I just thought that was interesting that, you know, here he is up there in that big old bed by himself, but, you know, has Bianca downstairs, but then he's sending her all these crazy mixed signals. Anywho, Agu plays it safe and asks Kamani, you know, to go to lunch with him so that they can talk. And she agrees because that's what we do. You know, we want them to squirm and beg, and then we also want to be able to get into their business and learn more about them and find out what really happened. So, you know, we want to hear the BS game that they're about to put down. So she says that she's a Bentley and Emily is a Pinto. And Kamani, as much as I love you, I'm going to need you to lay off of Emily, because Emily really is a sweet person. I mean, she has some little tendencies, but on the surface, as far as women go, she is a sweet girl. And even though she was kind of foul for sleeping with Agu, that neither one of them knew what was going on, and that it started out as cuddling and just went a little bit too far. So Bianca walked in on Larry talking to Agu, and now she's pissed again. So she goes to Emily and reveals her frustration, and she is mad that he's in the kitchen talking to Agu and not to her, but she's doing the same thing by walking around mad, talking to, you know, Malaku and Emily and Jermaine about what Larry is doing. So I think they're both being really childish and immature at this point. It's time for the date between, well, not the date, but the lunch outing between Agu and Kamani. And I'm just going to say Kamani put it out there. Like, she said that she is the bomb.com. But when she came down, she had on this white, I don't know what it was. It was like 2 pieces of fabric tied together at the shoulder, and she had on nothing underneath it. The thing was opened up all the way down, like, to her hip. And I'm just like, girl, you're doing too much right now. Like, this ain't even classy at this point. And I thought it was funny that when they got into the car, that Agu actually reached over and like overlapped the material, the fabric that was covering up her front and back. And I thought that was interesting because, you know, men will sleep with the sluttiest of women, but when it comes to somebody that they really like and want to be in a relationship with, they don't want the slut mode. They want you to be covered up and conservative and be a good reflection on them, which is even funnier when it comes to Agu, considering he likes to take his clothes off and get butt naked and run around jumping in pools and stuff. So yeah, it's a double standard, but that's just how men are. So he wants to stick with the blaming on the alcohol. You know, that's a story he's going to stick with, and it's really a turn off. And, you know, he says that he's not attracted to Emily and that he was drunk. And, you know, Kamani is basically like, this isn't going to fly. You're a grown man. You know, being drunk is not an option. You need to fess up, be responsible for what you're saying. You know, so Kamani, you know, she's trying to bring her grown woman and let him know that ain't nobody playing these games. And, you know, if the tables were turned and she slept with, you know, one of his homeboys, there would be nothing else to talk about. Like, he would be so done with her, and that is so true. So then back at the house, you know, Emily's throwing shade because I think Malaku had asked her, you know, why she didn't go to lunch with Agu and Kamani, and she says that because she didn't have anything see-through or revealing her boobs to wear, so that's why she couldn't go. In a later scene, we have Emily, you know, after she's left Bianca, and she comes downstairs and tells Larry that, you know, Bianca's birthday is coming up, you know, and that he should do something nice for her, you know, to try and make things right. And then Larry has to let us all know that he is not in a relationship with Bianca. And he said it like so many times throughout the show that we were like, okay, but you want to be in a relationship with her. Like, what are you doing? So either you're in a relationship or you're not in a relationship. Either she's somebody that you're interested in or you're not interested. But these, you know, just another example of the games that men play to string women along. Like, he doesn't really want her until somebody else wants her, and then that's when he's going to go all out. But right now, you know, he just wants to keep her confused, and he sees that he's driving her crazy. But I guess he's getting a kick out of that. So then we have a scene where Bianca and Larry, I guess they kind of like easing the tension away. So they were going to go get in the pool with Jermaine, but then Jermaine said that he can't swim. And so I'm with you, Jermaine. I'm a grown woman. I live in a city that is surrounded by water. Like, there is water. If I walk a mile in any direction from my house, I will end up in the water. But I cannot swim. And I grew up in this city, but I made sure that my daughters learned how to swim. So although they can swim, their mama cannot swim, but she loves hanging out by the water. Then we have another scene, you know, with Larry and Bianca, you know, with the whole attitude thing. And he's like so confusing because in one point he's saying, or in one scene he's saying that Bianca means the world to him, you know, but she has issues. And then he lets her know that her funky attitude is stinking up the house, and she is automatically on defense, and she wants him to acknowledge her feelings. But he says that he's afraid to, because no matter what he says, it isn't going to please her. So then Larry kind of hit the nail on the head when he says that Bianca is passive aggressive, but I'm thinking that she may be a little hormonal also. And so Bianca, like, are you going to be mad the whole trip? And I asked her this on Twitter, and she just came back and said, keep watching the show. So I think Bianca tired of us talking about her and her attitude on this show. They decided to cook dinner, and I don't know if they cooked this dinner for real, but they had like some chicken and macaroni and cheese and some candied yams. I think somebody said that it was like a Thanksgiving meal. So then, was it Jermaine? I think it was Jermaine asked Kamani how did her date go with Agu. So I just knew for sure that Kamani was going to come, you know, get slick at the mouth and say that it wasn't a date. But then she doesn't say anything unless Agu speak up. So Agu, you know, says that it was really nice. And then Emily can't let it go. So she wants the details about what they talked about. I'm like, girl, that's really not the question that you want to be asking. So of course this made Kamani feel some kind of way, and she's like, you want the details? And so Emily's like, yeah, I want the details. Like, what did y'all talk about? What did y'all do? So Kamani was sort of like, okay. No, I think Jermaine asked, was Emily the topic of the conversation? And then Kamani may have said yes, that she was. So Kamani and Agu knew to shut his mouth and not say too much. But Kamani and Emily get to going back and forth, and so of course that led to an argument, about. So for Kamani to be like, she's a grown woman and not going to deal with Agu and his foolishness, she sure got into her feelings, when Emily was asking her, about what did they talk about and whether or not she was the topic of the conversation. And, she feels that she has a right to know if they were basically talking about her on this date lunch that they were on. Kamani and Emily get into it, this back and forth. So like nobody can enjoy their meal because the two of them are bickering, and it's like, what is really going on? Because Kamani, if you have decided that you don't want Agu because he slept with Emily, why are you still mad at Emily? Like, is it because it's not like she took the man from you? Because obviously she's a little loose, and she probably would have slept with anybody that night who was good looking and fine to her. And I think she just wanted to try out the chocolate. But for whatever reason, you just want to keep digging and digging. So now the group has Bianca to deal with, and now they got you and Emily. And it was just so funny because, men, nothing bothers men. So because the guys ended up in another room talking about the women and just how they just dragging the whole, trip down. So I need all the women to get it together. And one thing I have to say is, with all this tension in the house, I know for me personally, I don't travel in packs. Like, there is no way you could get me to go on a trip with 6 other people. And when I do go on a trip with a friend, it is limited to like 3 or 4 days, because after that, things just start getting weird and annoying, and I personally just feel like I can't be myself, and I just need some downtime and some alone time. So I think that this whole going on a trip with a bunch of people may sound like fun in the beginning, but I think if it goes on too long, then it could just get a little difficult to deal with. And so Maliku said that he would rather be kidnapped by El Chapo than to be at the table with these bickering women. And I agree with you, Maliku. So wait. When they go ATV riding, Bianca jumps on. Everybody has single ATVs, got on their own ATVs. But Bianca jumps on the back of Larry's ATV. So he is just like sending mixed signals. And I don't know, maybe it's the filming of the show and the editing. Like maybe they're putting stuff before or after certain things happen. So it's looking like they kind of mad at each other one day and then happy and in love the other day. But this was just really confusing with that ATV ride, because they were the only ones that had like 2 people on the ATV. Everybody else was single, and so that was kind of creepy crazy. And then Agu and Kamani, they out, I guess they getting along better, so they're racing, and she goes ahead of him. He said he was gonna let her win. And she was the main one that didn't want to listen to the people when they was giving the safety lesson. And guess what? She the one that flipped off the damn ATV and went head first. And I'm like, what else could go wrong on this trip? Like, they arguing, they fighting. Kamani, they just showed her behind. And then she's the one that ended up getting hurt. I was just like, no, girl, no. Like, is karma coming back to bite you in your behind tonight? So note to self. Be careful where you get injured at, because not everyone has advanced medical care. And if Imani is really in need of serious medical attention, like if she was really hurt in that scene, she's going to be 10 times worse by the time they get her to the hospital, because they put her on this plastic. They didn't even have like one of those boards that they have in the ambulance when you get in a car accident and they strap you down to the board. They had like this vinyl, I don't know, it was like a piece of vinyl. They put Kamani in the vinyl, then wrapped it around her and tied it together, I guess like to hold her body straight. Then they put her, a van came, like a 15-passenger van came, and then they slid her across the seat and was driving with the door open to the van. And then they get back to the place, you know, to the office of the main location where they signed up for the ATV, and then they put her on, they took her out of the van and then laid her across the, I don't even know, it was like a crate or something, and laid her across the crate until the ambulance arrived. And from the scenes of next episode, they don't let us know what happened with her, because I don't think she was in any other previews that they showed, and it didn't look like anybody was missing her or upset. And I thought it was funny that Emily was the most expressive and concerned about Kamani, you know, and especially after the way Kamani had talked to her the night before. And I mean, like, the guys were visibly upset in the confessionals. And even at the scene, they were like looking down at her, but they weren't really talking. It wasn't until they got to the confessionals where they were like, they were praying for Kamani and about how, you know, she was a single mom and her kids were all that they had and everything. But I just thought it was interesting that Emily was the one that was acting most like a true caring friend towards her, like in that moment. And so hopefully that will help bridge their friendship and help mend what they're going through. And that's it for me, guys. Hope all works out for Kamani, and there's just a few scrapes and bruises, and that she'll be back in action next week sometime. So let me know what you thought about the recap, what you thought about the episode. Leave your comments below, rate the video, and I hope that everybody has a wonderful week. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.